Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are excited to have our friend here, Sabastian, joining us once again. It's
Hello
been
there.
fun getting to know him and the work he's doing with the Mornis Project and so much more. Welcome back today. How are you?
I'm brilliant. I'm brilliant. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I always like being here. I enjoy being here.
Well,
It's
you
really
are our
fun.
professional of the year, the founder and creator of Nobelia.org. Tell us what this is all about, who you are, what you do. And I know we're going to, dive right into picking up where we kind of left off last time,
Yes,
but it'd be good to
yes,
remind
yes.
everyone. Thank you.
It's about moreness. That's what it's about. And hopefully this idea of moreness, I know it's an uncommon word, but if you think about it, it's somewhat self-explanatory. And that's the
Hmm.
whole point of it, right? So moreness is a positivity, something that's extra, that which is beyond what you expect. And also what we're going to continue with doing, I'm going through Way of Impeccability, which is a life change and a self-change program, and it's geared towards deliberate living. It's a toolbox for deliberate living. It's not a teaching. It's not philosophy, something, that I say. No, it's tools that the participant can use. It's all about practical application, all about using. So you don't have to believe a word I say. Hopefully everything is going to be self-evident. And that's kind of a big point. So we're starting with the very beginning, and we've been doing it for a couple of episodes now. And it's very important, the beginning, to start off. And the most profound tool to get going is clarity of intent. You got to know what you're doing. You know precisely why you're doing it. And when you do know, you not only are very motivated, but in that emphasis of what it is that you're doing, you emphasize everything around you. You start seeing and noticing what connects to what you want to do. So clarity of intent is super, super important. And in this greater program, when we start to define what we want in life, not just in the bigger picture, not just in the small and intermediate, but in life itself. Now we're really starting to get somewhere. And when you really start to apply these tools, they help you in whatever you do. It doesn't matter. Makes no difference. And we'll start off with the very first one. Yeah.
Yep.
Um, Let me get there. I'll screen share real quick. I updated my
Perfect.
Zoom, and they now give you an extra click to do screen share. Oh, your Zoom
Oh,
is the old one still, so that's still easy to
oh,
do.
it is? Oh, I
Yeah.
thought it's the updated one because we just updated it because that's why I'm able to do my
Uh,
background. But okay.
yeah, all right. I think I ended up with Zoom Workplace, which is
Oh,
different to the regular Zoom, and it like has
okay.
extra clicks for stuff. Anyway, I have to redo it, I suppose. All right, now for those that are just listening, I'm going to be reading on the through the slides. There is a visual appeal, like this has really nice art. Yeah, right, Jill? Really beautiful art. And a quote here. And the quote says, "You must feel everything, otherwise the
Mhm.
world loses its sense." This is a quote that goes way back for me, going back a good couple of, well, almost 4 decades now.
Wow.
It just always stuck with me. A very powerful quote. And it took me a long time to really get a handle on this. And maybe the way it's expressed is somewhat unusual, but it's a big deal. And then we'll see where we're getting to this, and how it fits in. So the way I like to set up the program is I put in the quotes every now and then, and they give a connection to a more overview perspective. Hence my background today, overview perspective. So the quotes give you that connection to the ineffable, you could say, and to that moreness that's out there. That, all right, I see how it all fits together. And it's kind of neat to do that. You get into the specifics and then you zoom out and you have that bigger picture view. It's very cool. So what we're going to be doing in the, at least we're going to go through this now. We're not doing the program, and I don't want this to be mistaken. I'm just sharing what it's about. But actually doing the program is not just reading it or
Mhm.
listening to it. No, no. There's a lot more to it. I think I explained before. But as a participant, you'll be doing repeat backs and takeaways and tasks and exercises and all sorts of things. So there's a lot of doing involved, because the intent is not to remember the stuff. The
Yeah.
intent is to have it inside you. So this is what this particular slide is about. And it says, we'll be getting into the material with the intent of knowing it. And through that intense and thorough knowing, we'll feel it all. and thus come to live it.
Thank you.
Think
And
about that for a second.
I am.
Yes.
I'm reading.
All
I'm
right.
getting. Well, yeah.
Yeah. I think about that.
Wow.
So let's say, for instance, a program is, dealing with, let's just say, whatever you're doing, and somewhere in the program talking about patience. Now, patience is a good skill to have. Yes, everybody
Mm-hmm.
wants to have patience. And when I grew up, I used to hear adults talking about patience, and they would talk about it like it was an impossibility to actually accomplish. Yeah, it's a good thing to have, but nobody can really ever have patience. It was amazes me. For a while there, I thought patience was an impossibility.
Yeah.
Anyway. But now, if you talk about patience and you're in your program or you're reading your self-improvement book and talk about patience, you can say, "Oh yeah, it's a good idea," but and even make an effort to be patient. But if you don't feel patient, there's no way that you are patient. Yes,
Yeah. True.
but if you feel patient, not a problem. Not a problem. Mm. By the way, just on this note, real quick, I like to have fun. I'll end screen share so I can see you better.
Sure. 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 Go ahead.
But for me, I don't want to be. I like to talk to you, Jill. Yes, I know a lot of people are listening, but to me, connection. I like to see who I'm talking to. It's important. Anyway, I was going to say on this point of patience, if anybody ever has an issue with patience, I could say to you, uh, do you like to be arrogant? I say, no, 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 no. I can't be arrogant. Arrogance
No.
is no, this is not possible. I say, okay, you want to be patient. You have a problem with patience. Yes, they say, I struggle with patience. I'm impatient all the time. I say, okay, next time you're impatient, just remember this. Think about it. Yes? If you're impatient, are you not expecting the world to operate according to your timetable?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, isn't that arrogant?
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah. It's
You
awkward.
see?
I'm not that way.
Yeah. So next time you're impatient, you just think, oh my God, I'm being arrogant. I'm expecting the world to operate on my timetable. And your
Yeah.
innate motivation to not be arrogant is going to help you to be patient, right? Because now it's like, and many participants tell me, dang it, Phil, now I can't be impatient anymore because now it's associated with being arrogant. And it's like, dang it.
Ew. No, I don't
It's
want
very
that.
cool. Very cool. It's a
Oh,
simple tool, but I mention it here because this is what the program is about. It's sharing simple tools like that. Now, in this case, I'm implementing association management. That would be the tool. Now, if you're doing the program as a participant, one of the things that you need to do is create your dictionary of power. So it'd be Jill's dictionary of power. Yes, the program has its own one, but again, you can add that in there. Wow, association management. Wow, that's very
yeah.
cool. And then you might write, like in a dictionary, you got the detailed explanation of what the concept means or the term means. And then in this, you will say, oh yeah, and I'm going to connect it. Like for instance, with impatience, I connect it to arrogance. And now, okay, then it's association. But again, you don't want to just put that entry in. It's not about impatience only. Yes, that's an application of association management. It works with all sorts of other things. And when we understand association management, this is an incredible
Okay.
tool. I'm going a little bit sideways
No,
here.
don't worry. And I just also want to let everyone know that the lines are open. Obviously, if you have any questions, you can give us a call. I'm going to give you the best number for that. It's 631. I'm going to give you 307-4010, 631-307-4010. If you have any questions as Still keeps talking, please feel free to call in.
Wonderful.
They're
Yes,
open.
yes. Feel free to interrupt. I have no problem with interruptions, none whatsoever. It's part of practicing clarity of intent for such a long time. I know what I'm going to say. I can pause anytime and just pick up where I go on. And sometimes stuff needs to be interrupted. You got a thought on you. So it's never an issue. Never an issue. But anyway, I love questions. So please ask absolutely anything whatsoever. I thrive on questions, especially earnest questions. I have a disclaimer usually with earnest questions. I say, be careful to ask me earnest questions. You may get a response that's way more than you imagined. It's hard to describe, but earnestness, like if you asked me not earnestly or like, I sort of got like an email or something and said, to explain something, man, I don't necessarily have access to all of it, but an honest question, it pulls everything out. Sometimes I've responded for months to people on an earnest question. It's amazing. So it's a real power, earnestness. It's a very, very powerful tool. But think about it, Jill. you at home, right? And you're doing mom stuff, whatever mom stuff is, right? And your kids are, mom, why is this? Why? And leave me alone. Get lost, just, and you're busy, right? It's like you couldn't be bothered with the kids right now. But
Yeah.
then they come and they ask you an earnest question. What do you do?
What's
I remember moms in the kitchen. I mean, I don't want to stereotype, but that's where I have the memory from, right? Very specifically. Mom will put down whatever she's doing, wipe the hands on the apron, turn and face earnest question. Doesn't matter if it was from her child or another child. Actually, the first time I saw this, it wasn't even the mother's child. Turn and face them and said, yes. And listen to the question again, right? And
okay?
and really take it in seriously and give an earnest answer. But that earnest question stops whoever it's asked, right? Especially if it's fairly young children. This always stayed with me. It was just this incredibleness, just the awesomeness of this. And now, then I didn't have a word for it, but it's the power of earnestness, the
Mm,
eloquence of earnestness, actually.
interesting.
It, it's fantastic. And you've experienced this, I'm assuming, yes, Jill, as a mother?
Absolutely, every day.
Yeah. Yeah. When you get asked an earnest question, you can't say, oh, go away, get lost, whatever.
No,
I'm
no, you
busy. I can't
stop
take care of
whatever
it
it is
now.
you're doing
Exactly.
and you have
Exactly.
to
Exactly.
make the time and address it
Yes.
for
Yes.
sure. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. An earnest question is almost a sacred thing. Yes. You have
Yeah.
to honor it. You have to. And it's really, really powerful. And again, it goes to clarity of intent. When you really, really know what you want to do and you're very clear about it, you're earnest about it. You're completely and utterly earnest. And likewise, just in the same way as, mom, dad, parent, teacher, whoever, friend, when they stop and listen to your earnest question and make every effort to respond to it, so does the world. Don't take
Ah,
my word for it. Just try it out there. Put out your earnest intent. Really know exactly what to do. You're going to be amazed at what comes your way. Just be open, because so often what we get, the assistance, the help, is kind of a little bit beyond our imagination, because there's more. Our imaginations are very limited. There's more to it. There's more to it. Now, you're going to have an intent. Feel it. That's the key. When
mm-hmm.
that child comes with an earnest question, they're feeling it deep
Yeah.
inside them, right? The feeling is what makes it. And this applies to any endeavor. When you start putting energy into, I don't care what you're doing. It's not just with art, of course, any kind of an art. If you feeling very strongly, that emotion, that intent goes into what you're doing. I've seen, like, for instance, a writing that was all the spelling was wrong, all the grammar was wrong, but the person really felt it, and it was profound. It really grabbed you. It was really, really amazing. And this applies to other things too. You can be an engineer or a janitor. It doesn't matter. You do it with feeling. It has something more to it. It's quite fascinating how that feeling tends to translate going through everything. All right, so I'm going to continue reading here, and the lines are open. Call in if you have any questions. So
Perfect.
now
Six
we're
three one 307 4010. 631 Give us a call.
there.
Ask
You
some
go. Yes,
questions.
yes, we'd love
Nothing's
to
off
hear
the
from you.
table. Anything.
Yes, anything at all. It doesn't have to be related to what we're saying. Any
Okay.
question, any question. Yes, I'm not guaranteeing that I will give you a sensible answer or an answer that you might expect, but I guarantee I'll give an answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, perspective shifting is a great skill. And I never promise anything, but I can promise that I will give you an alternative perspective. That's for sure. Then I'm happy to promise. All right, just to continue here, I'll screen share again. And if we get any calls, I'll just drop the screen share again. Uh, but just
Perfect.
I want to get to a very important part of this clarity of intent. We're going most absolutely going to apply it all. That's the whole key here in the
Okay.
Zoom sessions. Because now, if you're a participant, you come on Zoom and we do all this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're not doing that right now. I'm just sharing what it is. We're going to apply and all of this, and of course, we're going to apply it in our daily lives. In this context, we as spirit warriors, and we'll get more into spirit warriors. Don't get hung up on it. It's just a temporary placeholder conception of ourselves. Later, there's a session on self-conception, and then you construct and build and your own self-conception. It's very important. So it's just a temporary thing. So we as spirit warriors are going to undertake a profound battle. Ooh, battle, you say? Wow, okay. Battle with our great enemy, habit. We're going to fight, feeling We need to do what we know to be folly, yet do it anyway. That's what we're going to fight. That feeling that we need to do what we know to be folly. This is just habit, right? We do things
Mm-hmm.
that we know are crazy, know are silly, know are foolish, but we do them anyway. Right? Comes from habit, right? We're
Yep.
thus in a fight to change how we till not
Uh-huh.
it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing how we do things that we just like. Ah, why? I mean, sometimes I think we in the universe's madhouse, right? Because I don't think I've met one single person that I can say is 100% sane. Can you think of anybody that
What did
doesn't
you
have a
say?
little bit of
100%. What did you say? 100% insane?
100% sane?
Oh,
Sane.
like
Sane.
insane. I'm like, wait, you lost me there.
Yeah. No, 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 not insane, sane. Yes. We
Got
all
it.
have
Got
that
it.
little bit of insanity in us, that little bit of madness, right? In this case, doing things that we like, no, what was I thinking? Why am I doing it? And even sometimes we know ahead of time that it's kind of crazy, but we do it anyway. And that's because of habit. Habit is an incredible power, right? So to continue here, with us in a fight to change how we feel on a constant and continuous battle, a
Wow.
fight to be able to feel the conceptions of power, right? Like patience is a conception of power. Impeccability is a conception of power. So many of them. I'm just mentioning very obvious ones. But you need to feel it, right? If you don't feel it, then you're not motivated and it doesn't matter. Like we said with patience, if patience is such an incredible example because it's so obvious. You're not feeling patient, you can't be patient. It's like, duh. But it applies to everything, really, right? And also, when we want to be able to feel deliberately, right? Remember, I said it's a toolbox for deliberate living. If you can feel deliberately,
Yeah.
you're in charge of how you feel, not the world. But we get
Mm-hmm.
taught the world that we are feeling responsibly. Oh, look, it's a nice day. Oh, I can be happy. It's like, why can't you be happy any day? Yeah,
Wow.
doesn't matter on the weather. Yes, wow. It's profound, Jill. It's profound how we do things and we don't even realize we're doing
Mm-hmm.
them
Oh,
simply
hold on.
because
We
of
have a
culture.
call coming in. Hello. Welcome to
Brilliant.
the show. You are live on the line. Who's this? Hello. Hello. Hi, you're live on the line.
Hello.
Hi, who's this?
This is Samantha.
Hi, Samantha. You're live on the air with Sabastian. Do you have a question for him?
Yeah, I have two questions. I don't know if I can ask, but my first one is what book recommend for someone's journey for self change?
One more time.
Did you say book,
Journey. What
Samantha?
did you say about the? One more time. Say it.
Which book would you recommend if for someone's journey for self change?
Journey for self change. What books can you recommend?
I love this question. Now, I see, I promised an alternative answer. There is no one book for any one individual. Yes, I know this is going to sound like a cop-out answer, but bear with me, right? Everyone is different. In my journey of learning and growth, it's a long story about reading, but especially when I talk to people about what's really grabbed them, what's really mattered in their lives, a book that really changed it for them. It's almost always a different book. It's very seldom the same book. And then even if it is the same book, and I ask people, I go into detail, well, what about it? And it's always different. The individuality is different. So now I would say, you say, yeah, but I don't know what that book for me is. Here's where we get to it. And this is part of the program. It's right at the very end, but it's paying attention to the world and looking for anomalies. Something that sticks out, especially like if you're online, right? You're just browsing and you look at something that grabs your attention that is like, that's a bit of a puzzle. It's a bit unusual, or perhaps even that can't really be. That's kind of weird, kind of impossible. And start paying attention. Now you've got an intent. Your intent is to find self-help book, one or many, that are particular and pertinent and relevant to you, Samantha, right? But just start watching for it and start being open for it. Now you've got that clarity of intent. You know what you want. You want the book that's going to work for you. Yes. Now, as you go along, you're going to start noticing things. They're going to start coming at you. and then start investigating, especially when there's a bit of an anomalousness to it, right? Like, for instance, you might be scrolling while you're chatting with me right now. You're scrolling down Facebook, and suddenly, there's a book come up, or a post on a book, or an ad for a book, or whatever. You're going to be amazed at
Mm-hmm.
what comes your way. Just staying open for it is very, very powerful. And also, um, I'm about to publish a book, and if anybody like you, Samantha,
Yes.
I'll be more than happy to send you an advance, be an alpha reader. I'll be
Ah,
more than happy.
what's the name of the book? Tell us. Tell us.
It's called Ask Biella,
Mm-hmm.
Questions Answered, and there's book 1 and book 2. Book 1 going to be released soon. Now, this is questions like yours, right? That people ask. But now you asked about the book, but these are all questions that it came from an advice column called Ask Biella, and earnest questions that are coming from readers. It was in Gateway Gazette newspaper way back when. At any rate, and so the whole book is about that. But the book shares a whole underlying way of being, and it's sharing much of what I'm sharing now. And part of this is connecting, but there's so much in there. I actually do live readings of this on Facebook, in my group every day. But if you want to come there and join in comments, I'll be more than happy to send anybody. All I need is an email address, and I'm not going to put you on a list or anything. If you want to be, you can join the list yourself, but that's not the intent of the book. I just want to share, and I like to hear from people. And if you're interested like this is absolutely a book I would recommend. But it's not published just yet. It's coming soon. And your second question, Samantha, unless you got lots of callers, but you
No,
said two
this is the
questions.
only one right now. Nope. Go
Well,
ahead.
go ahead. You got it all to yourself.
All right. So the next question is, I've been struggling with a breakup. I broke up with a long-term relationship recently, and I'm trying to get back to my old self. What tips would you give me to become the best version of me?
Can you repeat the last part of it again, please?
What tips, like what advice would
Ah,
you give
ah,
me to become the best version of myself?
Brilliant. First of all, I would say take that word breakup and just throw it away. Completely throw that word away, right? And replace it with the word transition. That's it. Why
Okay.
do you have to break up? Why can't you transition? I was in a situation and now I'm in a new one. You know, just that change of conception changes everything. So, oh, wow, okay. Now that I'm transitioning to what? Well, I'm transitioning to a new phase in my life. There was some good I'm assuming you were in the relationship because
Mm-hmm.
there was some fun for a while and then it didn't quite work out. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's just the world or the universe or whatever you want to think. Say, hey, you know what? Maybe there were some lessons that you needed to learn.
Yeah.
And you couldn't stay in that relationship because you've got other lessons to learn. So it helped you get out of it. Right? I'll give you a little story on this. My first kind of serious girlfriend, as I left high school, right there at the end of it, and we had a wonderful relationship, but it was mainly physical, and we both knew that, and it was fine. So we're sitting on the beach, after a while of this, and we've been having fun, and the girl, wonderful girl, Avril was her name. Ah, too wonderful. Anyway, so she says to me, just out of the blue, she says, "You're too much for me." That was it. And I
Mm.
understood from that moment, okay. And I just transitioned. And that stuck with me that
Mm-hmm.
she transitioned and she gave me that space to transition. And it was just wonderful. So, all right, we're in a relationship. It was wonderful. We had a lot of fun. But then we transitioned and we just were friends. Now, all right, in your relationship, it may have been not such a fun breakup, but it doesn't mean that it has to stay negative. It can change also. So you can transition the transition, right? At this point in time, there may be bad feelings and negativity, but usually that's just because we've upset because we think we've lost something that we cannot get back. But if you think about it, right, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're never going to be in a relationship again. No, of course not, right? So when you stay open to that and you're not so much concerned and focused on what you lost, but rather focused on what you gained. Now, if you really think about that, really think about what lessons you got to learn, what moreness you got to be, and also think about what might have happened had you stayed. Yes. You might be. I've seen people get into relationships and they get stuck. They can't get out, and they aren't necessarily negative. Well, sometimes they are negative also, but they aren't also the best. And they sort of settle for the mediocre. They settle for less, and they don't live happy lives, right? They don't necessarily live unhappy lives, but they don't live mourners lives. So if you think about it this way, you say, what have I gained? I've gained the opportunity for mourners. I've gotten rid of lessness. Yes. And I've learned stuff. I learned that I don't want to go there again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does
Well,
that make sense, Samantha?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. To view it as a transition versus then something negative.
Absolutely.
It's
Don't break
it's
up. Transition.
more, yeah, it's a more optimistic perspective. I appreciate it
Absolutely.
so much.
Absolutely. And also shifting from what you've lost to what you gained. We taught in our culture to focus on what we've lost. It's kind of one of those things that just come culturally. But why can't I focus on what I've gained rather, right? If I've lost some baggage, I haven't lost the baggage. I've gained freedom.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank
Good.
you. Well, Samantha, thank you for your time today. We appreciate
Yes.
if you want to reach out to Sil directly, tell us how we do so.
Nobelia.org/connect.
Perfect. Thank you again.
Okay.
All right. Have a great day. And we still have, 4 minutes left in the show, 3 minutes left in the show. So at this time,
Brilliant.
we got to
Brilliant.
kind of wrap it up. Unless someone wants to call 631-307-4010. But thank you for the call, Samantha.
Yeah, that was great. That was really great. Thank you very much, Samantha. And please, connect with me on that nobelia.org/connect. Usually they put it up on the screen there for the spelling. So, producer, please put it up.
Oh, they will. Nobelia,
Anyway, it's
Nobelia.org.
there you go, /connect. And on that, Samantha, you'll see there's plenty ways to connect with me. Send me an email if you want to. I'll be happy to send you, a preview of the book. It'd be my pleasure. I like to connect with people. I love to share. So absolutely my pleasure. I'm just thrilled that you called in. This was really helpful. And again, I wanted to share also that in again, we have no idea, when something like this are big questions that Samantha asked. They're very big questions, but I'm sharing tools, perspective shifting, looking at things differently, coming at things from a different angle. This tool of perspective shifting, especially perspective shifting to multiple perspectives, it's a huge, huge, huge power tool. I cannot emphasize enough how powerful it is. It goes alongside with another power tool, but we're running out of time, so we'll save that power tool for next time.
Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you so much. And one more time, tell us how we can contact you, and congrats on the book that's about to be released. Do we have a
Thank you.
timeline on that?
Yeah, not exactly. I'm waiting on the people who are doing the marketing and the publishing, all the stuff. So probably within a month, I would say. Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Thank you again, Nobelia.org. And
Yeah.
thanks for the inspiration. Thank you to our caller today. We appreciate it. And we'll be back again soon. And hopefully we'll get more calls.
Yes. Oh, yes. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. All right, everyone, stay tuned. We will be right back with more. Thank you again.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.